What's up, everybody? This is a very different video than what I've ever really done, but I feel this is much more for me than it is for you. But for people who are actually interested in my music, I feel like this would be something nice to kind of know that I'm dealing with. So, for those who didn't really know, since I never made like a real official announcement about it, I took 2019 off. Yeah, I did a little bit of writing here and there for what's supposed to be the project that comes out this year, which is supposed to be industry standards. I'll go ahead and say the title here. I don't care at this point. But yeah, so in 2019 I ended up dropping like the few songs that I had already prepared as a sneak peek. The IS sneak peek was industry standards, and it was I was gonna take a year off because Gems was kind of like a big achievement in my own artistry, in my opinion, and I was waiting for it to get remastered, and I was planning on focusing on production. I was gonna try and make a beat tape for 2019, and like on the rap singing side, I would have like the sneak peek of the next album to come out for 2020. But obviously the beat tape never happened. And still, when I go back to try and make beats, like it's difficult. It's because production is something that I just do a little bit of. Like I used to do it almost out of necessity because I kind of wanted my own beats, and I also just liked making it at the time. But I got to a point where I was like, okay, my beats aren't as great as the beats that I'm getting from other producers, whether it be friends or ones that I have leased or purchased exclusively from. So there would be no real point in me making a whole lot of beats, since most of them aren't going to be as great as the stuff that I'm getting from other people. So I kind of slowed down on the beat making, but I still wanted to come back to making beats. But every time I've gone back to it, it's just kind of reached a lot of dead ends. But back on the rapping and singing side, I mainly wanted to take 2019 off and just kind of focus on some other things. I've been making music for 20 years, pretty much. Like the whole rapping and singing thing I've done for 20 years. So I was just like, you know what, let me put that to the side, focus much more on my spiritual health, and also just stop going on this yearly grind. There has to be something new every year. There has to be something new every year. And now 2020 came around, and I was like, okay, I just kind of slowly touched on a couple of songs for the project to get ready to hopefully release sometime in 2020. And then of course the pandemic happened, still going on, so that made it kind of difficult to continue my creativity, because with being that it's a home studio and I do not live alone, I can't really just record music with people in the house, because all of us are pretty much all stuck in the house. I'm not gonna make them be like, hey, everybody shut up, I'm doing a song. I'm not going to do that. So I know that doesn't prevent me from writing, but being that I did kind of take a break from writing, and the direction that industry standards is supposed to go, it's supposed to be very, very mainstream, very poppy, something that is supposed to be super, super accessible, kind of in the vein of via B-sides, if anybody here has listened to that EP. So it was going to be a lot of songs like that. It's not as personal and introspective as the stuff that's on Gems. And I also wanted to not impede on its remastered version coming out, which is another reason why I decided, yeah, I'll take the year off to give time for the remastered version to be completed. That way I can release it and not let it get affected too much by a brand new project, you know. But yeah, so the writing in Gems itself, though, is some of my, in my personal opinion, some of my best work, just because it is gone in a direction that I feel I haven't gone into before. A lot of my music is very punchline heavy. Yes, sometimes it can be love related, and I've been fine with going, you know, a little bit into that direction, doing like love songs too, which do have some personal feelings involved. But this time, some of them go even more personal than before, and dealing with a lot more heavier topics, a lot more social commentary than I've ever given before. You know, talking about like social injustice, bullying I've dealt with, and a bit of depression, self-loathing, all kinds of different things that are heavy, along with things that just are just straight up personal. Like, hey, I love music. Music is awesome. Music is a big part of my life. So let me put that love in full display. Hey, you know what else? I really love video games. Let me tell you about how much in love with video games I am. I'm gonna just go ahead and throw that all in here. Hey, guess what? I'm a nerd, and I love that, so I'm gonna rap over this beat with an anime sample, talking about how I escape through anime and use its message of, you know, self-empowerment to also say, hey, do you be, it's okay to be, you know, your own unique self, you know. And then coming also with an aggressive tone, which I've never ever really even done before, with Hold It. I feel like it was such a almost magnum opus for me that I feel like I poured out everything that I have. And being the introvert that I am, I don't do a whole lot. So once I've emptied out everything, maybe I thought, maybe even taking the year off can get some living in, can give me some more to write on, and hopefully use those experiences to create something super relatable in this very industry packaged like box for industry standards. I definitely have been able to get a good start on that, but with the pandemic, I just kind of stopped. Also, I've gone way heavier into my role as a critic on the Muddy Cult blog. So I'm listening. I'm even when I was writing before, I was very much a consumer of music. I would listen to so much, but once I did not have to write anything myself, I became even more so a consumer of music, and trying to keep up with that, you know, with the reactions and reviews that I do on my Fair Shake channel. Like, it's time consuming. It's inspiring. Like, I hear a whole bunch of stuff, and I'm like, man, I could probably do something like that with this and that with this. But then whenever I come in front of the pen and pad, or mainly my cell phone in the notes section, I hear the beats, I hear I come up with a concept of like what direction I want to go, but I just can't really write for like long periods of time like I used to. I know one way to, get past that, push past that, is to just go ahead and write. There's just times where I don't have the time to just do that. I want to be effective, efficient, with my time, and just, wasting time writing out verses that are going to get scrapped and have to be completely rewritten. It sounds like a lot of time that I could have used towards something else, whether it be another album, movie, show I need to watch to review, or maybe even studying for my own spiritual health as well. The Bible I'm talking about. Even getting back into video games, even though I haven't been playing in maybe a month or two. But there were definitely some new games when the pandemic started that I was like, oh, I got all this time, let me play these games, and I had a blast. But now I haven't touched it in a while. It came back to the time for me to write again, and I wasn't finding much success. I didn't feel like wasting my time trying to push through the rut, and now I'm just like, what do I do? I know it's something that I still want to do. I don't want to not put out the project. I've been able to create like maybe one or two songs before everything kind of like crashed down on us with the pandemic. That I was able to add on to the sneak peek, because when the sneak peek first came out, it was only 4 songs, and now there's 6 songs on it. So if you do want to check it out, you can see kind of the direction I'm trying to head with the project. But that's 6 songs out of the 15 in total that I'm trying to release with this project. So it's about halfway, but it's still just hard for me. And then just ran a couple ideas around my head of, just sucking it up and taking the time to just write and get past the rut, or even just maybe just find some new inspiration, get some new beats that aren't for the project, and just do a quick side thing, kind of like how 5 B-sides kind of came up. It was just like, you know what, I have this opportunity to get this gang of beats, let me just work on this real quick. Even though I'm supposed to be working on this album, let me work on these beats real quick, release that, and then I'll come back to the true full-on concept project. But but then that's a lot of money that that I'd have to put aside for that as well, because you gotta pay your producers. It would be nice to have it professionally mixed. I'm at an impasse. It's just like, you know what, I don't know what to do. On one hand, I'm just like, maybe it's time to hang it up and just retire, not call it a hiatus and say it's retirement. Or should I power through and just let it come when it comes? Like, I really don't know. I'm still stuck in that mindset. Another thing, part of me says, when it comes even to the YouTube stuff, like my personal YouTube, this YouTube channel, like, I think, should I come back to this? The grind to try and do this weekly is tough. Even if I were to try and drop something like bi-weekly or monthly, I don't know if it's worth to try and think of new ideas to do that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's super fun to do that, but like, I'm getting older. There's still a lot of responsibilities I have. I have different life goals in general that I'm wanting to focus on. So it's just like, I don't know what to do. Like, in general, when it comes to music though, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I always keep telling everybody now when they ask me about music, is like, what they say, those who can't do become critics. So that's all I've been doing, is just reviews, and reactions. But a part of me still really likes creating. It's just been difficult for me lately. I don't know if it's partially because of the year off, of like not just consistently always creating music. The fact that the last full album was so cathartic that there's just nothing left in the well. The fact that I can't really record, and that it would just be writing and then waiting for the off chance to be able to do so. I have no idea. Or if it's a combination of things, I don't know. Music has always just become kind of a paying hobby for me. Not that it pays much, but I always just kind of made it a paying hobby, and I'm just like, well, do I continue to try and keep up this hobby, or do I just continue just doing the critic stuff, since I do enjoy it, and I know there's people who value my opinion. Like, I even have some personal friends that ask my opinion on stuff that they're working on, and see in which ways I can help them. Not that they necessarily need my help, because they're just amazing, especially one in particular, Braille Watson. Like, he doesn't really need my input, but I appreciate him asking at times. But I'm just at a weird place, and I kind of wanted to just talk it out. And if there's anybody out there who actually likes to listen to my music, that cares, what would you think? Because I even thought, like, to really justify trying to put more energy into it, I would need to make it more sustainable. But I really would hate to go like the Patreon route and ask people to help support me, to be able to dedicate more time to this thing that I'm still not trying to become a superstar at. I know many people do music in hopes to be able to go out, tour, perform, and make a huge name for themselves, but that's never been my goal. I don't feel like I should put the responsibility on others to support me doing a hobby and not a job. I'm not trying to make music my job, and so therefore I don't think it would be right to be like, yeah, just set up a Patreon, man. I would love to support you in making new music because you do great. It's just like, yeah, but my main goal isn't to blow up and act like I don't know nobody. Like, that's not my I'm not riffraff. I'm just me. Yeah, I like to make music. But I would hate to try and make somebody else help me to make music when it's not something that I'm actually trying to get super paid doing. It's just a hobby. So it's all these different factors that I feel make me unmotivated. and I don't know. I just don't know what to do. If anybody's listened to I Digress, there's a song on there called Stand Still. And I feel like that is still very much my current spot. Except now I'm not even as motivated to follow up the inspiration that I get from all the content that I am listening to. Like, I definitely be like, oh, I would love to make a thing like this. Oh, I would love rapping on this. Or, oh, this makes me think of this pattern or this cool little punchline. Yet when it comes to actually doing it, it's just like, but I don't have the means to make this a reality right now, so why work on it? It's weird. I don't know. It's a very strange situation, and I feel like I'm starting to just repeat some of the same points. But yeah, so excuse my rambliness, and hopefully it wasn't completely boring for you to listen if you made it this far at all. But yeah, tell me what you think. Just based off of what you know from this video, just would it be worth it to continue, just push through and just slowly create as it comes? Let it just wait for the inspiration to hit and the motivation to come along with it, and just let it come? Or should I just be like, Gems is it? I'm still down to do features if anybody asks. But it's, I don't know. It's just for working on my own stuff. It's hard. Anyway, much love, peace, threes. Oh yeah, check out my latest video, Don't Do K-pop. It'll be down in the corner. It should be the one over on this side. Over here will be some random recommendation, and you can check out my music here, because there's my 2 Decades of Fire.